What is a nice man like you got the all white on, what are you doing in Washington, D.C.?
I just got off my good humor truck outside, and somebody said, "Hey, come in, talk Genevieve." Genevieve.
Genevieve.
Yeah.
No, seriously. I mean, no, I know you wanted to come and talk with us, but seriously, what brings you to Washington? People think of you as entertainer. They think of somebody who's obviously had great hits on Billboard charts, did TV, did movies, the whole.
Yeah, the whole shot.
Why Washington? Why politics?
Because I'm a citizen. I'm a citizen, and I take that responsibility very seriously, and many of my entertainer friends do too. I'm often asked, do you think entertainers should speak out on their political views? Yes, I do, because we're all citizens, but I think we should be measured and informed before we use whatever influence we may have to bring to bear other people's votes and actions.
Why is it so many in the entertainment industry, when they do speak out on politics or get behind candidates or certain social causes, why are most of them on the left?
I'll tell you why. I had to do a lot of thinking about that. The whole left side on the left coast.
You've been there for over 50 years. Nobody knows better than you.
I do. I've been right in the middle of it. There is the fear that if they adhere to certain rules or taboos or restrictions, they won't get to make the next few bucks on a movie or a TV show or a record. They don't want any moral restrictions, and so they want kind of a laissez-faire, a humanistic kind of liberal approach.
It's been 50 years now that you've been involved in politics since you first came out because communism got you.
Yeah.
You were worried about that taking over in this country. What have been the issues over the years that have kept you involved, and what keeps you involved today?
Well, certainly the defense of marriage. I came back to Washington. I was one of about 3 entertainers only they could find who would sort of go around and try to talk to senators who were going to vote on a marriage amendment. And even though we didn't think it would pass, I wanted to come back and speak on behalf of the traditional idea of marriage between a man and a woman, the building block of society historically from the very beginning. God created man and woman, and from that grew the human race, and that's the way it's supposed to be perpetuated. So, not anti-anybody else, but defending marriage.
I know another big issue for you has been the debate over something called the death tax.
Oh, the death tax.
And that's something that, you represent 60s Plus. It's an organization of people, as you said, if you don't want to be a member of AARP, it could be 60s, certain mature level.
Stage in life.
But it also speaks to the millennial generation today. Why is this issue so important?
Boy, I'm glad you asked that. Because, there are forces in our elected representatives who think the death tax ought to continue, and it's called the estate tax, but it really is a tax levied when you die. and we don't think that death ought to be a taxable event. That if you have the bad judgment to just pull up stakes and leave this life, that the government should step over and take half of everything you've put aside, already paid taxes on, want to leave to your family. Some people have to sell their businesses, their farms.
Now, a lot of people have said on the left, and I know you've heard this, this is just something that only rich people have to worry about.
You know, the rich people don't have to worry about it, because rich people can pay lawyers, and they have tax avoidance schemes, and they can take, in fact, I myself have made provisions.
The IRS may be watching this video,
They can watch all they want because it's perfectly legal, but I can afford to give in advance to my family, to my heirs, what I want them to have now in one means or another, and I can also give to the charities I want to have our estate in advance while I'm still living, because I have the resource, I can afford to pay for that.
But the average American, you're saying, doesn't even know this is coming in some cases.
And plus it happens suddenly sometimes, and the head of a family or a business dies, and suddenly the government steps in and says, well, if you have to sell your business or your farm, we don't care. Give us half of everything that this man worked so hard to put up. Now, I want young people to know this is not an issue just for the old, because what they're talking about, the government is talking about taking away the inheritance that would otherwise go to the kids and the grandkids of these men and women who built up some sort of an estate and want to leave it to them. And the government, if we allow this government to have its way, will step in and take all that away and rob the next generation and the generation after that of the inheritance that they otherwise would have had.
Final question for you. You got a lot of people out here who know your history, loved your music. What would you want Pat Boone's legacy to be?
I just hope that I'll be thought of as a good family guy. My wife and my kids have been my top priority, and a good citizen, and a good Christian. If they think of me as a man of faith and freedom and family, I'll be happy.